All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with lesson 3 of DIY WordPress. And in this series, we're walking you through how to set up your own website with a custom, or should I say a premium theme. This wouldn't be a custom theme because for a custom theme, you would probably hire a developer to do for you. It would be completely custom. In this series, we're going to be talking about how you can customize a theme and also some of the necessities of setting up your own WordPress website. The first two series we talked about marketplaces, and in the second episode of this series we talked about choosing a WordPress theme. The next thing you would want to do is find yourself hosting or some type of a host for your WordPress theme. In my case, I own and use a virtual private server. But there are plenty of shared hosts out there. Just a few in particular. And there are actually not only shared hosts, but there are specialized WordPress hosts. One, WordPress host that you could check out would be SiteGround. SiteGround is a relatively new WordPress host, and they actually do WordPress specialized hosting, and they're a great resource. You can check them out, and they're pretty involved with the WordPress community as well. The next host that I would say you can check out is a web host called WP Engine. WP Engine is a specialized host as well for WordPress. They manage your actual hosting, and usually if your website is getting larger amounts of traffic, WP Engine is a great, you can look into them for hosting as well. And then you could check out Bluehost. Bluehost is actually one of the recommended hosts that's on the WordPress website. And there are, with Bluehost, there are actually different plans and packages that they offer for you. They have shared hosting, they have WordPress hosting, they have VPS hosting, dedicated hosting, reseller hosting, lots of different hosting. If you want to do the research and find out what all of these different hosting platforms are, what's the difference between shared hosting and WordPress hosting, or VPS and dedicated and reseller, then I just would recommend Google to do all your research, and you'll find out. But from a beginner's perspective and a business owner, small business owner's perspective, I highly would recommend either a WordPress host, WordPress specialized hosting, or shared hosting. Shared hosting is a way for you to get your site up and running fast. It's very cheap. Shared hosting is usually around like $3 to $5 a month. But there's a little bit more. There are trade-offs when you do that as well. And then you can also go to the WordPress repository. We're right here earlier downloading our theme. You can actually click on hosting here at WordPress.org, and they talk about different hosts that they recommend. As they say, there are hundreds of thousands of web hosts out there, so they recommend Bluehost, DreamHost, and Laughing Squid, any of those hosts. And they're all great hosts. More advantages with some of the web hosts than others. And I would recommend a web host that's connected to the WordPress community, that has a good track record of success, uptime, a good track record, and price is always going to be a point. But at the same time, it's your business, so you shouldn't be too concerned about what's going on with your price. I mean, like you shouldn't be in business if you don't really have the money to do it. But I just would recommend these few hosts. These are some of the hosts that are available. And there's tons of other web hosts out there. If you want to go to a different type of hosting platform and use VPS, then there are other ones who I would recommend. But for shared hosting and for what you're going to do, you should probably stick with shared hosting or a WordPress host. So that's enough of that rant. The next thing we're going to need to do is we've downloaded our theme, and I've set up actually a sample domain on my virtual private server, which is something you would need to find an actual domain name. So a domain name can be found. There are several different domain registrars, and a few of them that I will name off will be, I would say GoDaddy is one of the first domain registers that comes to mind for me, simply because I've been with them for a while. However, I'm actually currently transitioning to Google Domains, which is currently currently invite only. But if you wanted to check it out, it's Google. I'll just do a search, Google Domains, and so I'm in the process personally of migrating to this domain service, Google Domains. There are other domain registrars where you can buy your domain name at, and Hover is another one that comes to mind. This is a great domain name registrar. They're pretty cool. Pricing is, it's average pricing. And another big name, Namecheap. Namecheap domain names are also they are pretty well known as well. So you can check out any of these. As I said, I've been with GoDaddy for so long that I'm just there right now. But I got an invite. I actually got an invite from Google Domains, and I'm going to be migrating to Google Domains. Hover is another option. Namecheap is a big competitor with GoDaddy, and so they're a good option as well. And there are tons more. And I'm not trying to scrimp any business from getting new business, but these are the ones that come to mind immediately. You do need a domain name, however. And one cool thing that I do whenever I get ready to, launch a product, or I, want to find a domain name, I use a cool tool called Instant Domain Search. I really like this little tool. And let's say I am opening a business where I'm doing Cadillac resale. What I'll do is I'll go into Instant Domain Search tool, and I'll search and see if the domain name is available. It uses Ajax in the background, and I can search for my term, CadillacResale.com. Look at that. That's available. But obviously I'm not selling Cadillacs, although I am selling the Cadillac version of websites. You can check it out at philoveracity.com, which is my business name. Anyway, luxury cars, any type of luxury cars, whatever, luxury websites, hand in hand. regardless of the little rant that I just went on, you're going to need a domain name, and you're going to need a host, and just briefly, I wanted to also point out the actual article where I did talk about this a little bit more in depth. You can go to my website, philveracity.com, and I talked a little bit more in depth about owning your website versus renting it, or just having a social media account, which would be comparable to renting a home. If you go over to my website, philveracity.com, and you click on all blogs, you can come down to the newest, actually, it's actually a pretty old blog. Let's see, there it is. It's April 29th of 2013. You can click on that one, and the title of the blog is Own Your Web Space. Don't just use social media. Check that blog out, and you will see why you need to own your online presence. I talk about having your own, I talk about, what it means to have a, domain name and host, and kind of a little bit of, the similarities of it is to owning a home. So check that out. And that'll be it for this tutorial on domain names and hosting.